iOS 17 and everything?
I lied. I don't have 1702 yet.
Well,
Oh, wait. Maybe it did it overnight. Hold on.
My watch updated finally to the second update.
My watch did not update yet for some reason.
I will admit the second update, a lot of my stuff was like, hey, I'm going to update tonight, and then it didn't do it, and I was like, well, I'm going to update tonight again. No, it didn't do it. I'm just like, well, I'm just going to force you to update. Like, you're taking too long.
Yeah.
I lied. Phone is up to date. Watch is not.
Actually, yeah, I was going to say, actually, I don't think my watch is up to date because I haven't forced it to update. That's not where the watch apps is.
How do you force the watch update?
In the phone.
Yeah. You go to the watch app on the phone. Oh, no, it says 10.0.1. And there are no other updates, so it must be updated. It makes sense because 10.0.0 would be the update.
Yeah, the initial update.
Oh, look at it. Sitting right there, just waiting for me to activate it.
Yep, see?
Son of a bee.
Son of a bee. I didn't miss a call from Joseph. Stupid watch.
Maybe you did miss a call from Joseph.
I didn't.
I accidentally hit it.
Oh, is that what it was? Oh, I think it was. Oh, that. I think
rang like for a split second. I was like, ah, shit, that's not what I wanted to hit.
Abort.
Abort.
Abort. Uh-huh. Okay.
How you guys doing?
Thumbs high.
up.
Thumbs high.
Thumbs high. Thumbs high
How
like
are
the
you?
person.
I'm doing all right. You know, another day, another dollar. Speaking of
Another
which,
day.
it's weird to. This is the first week that we get paid weekly.
Oh yeah, how'd that go?
You paid weekly?
So my check is like $600 and something.
You're like, what the hell?
It just feels weird.
Yeah.
I don't get paid weekly. I'd also be weirded out if I did.
Well, that's the weird thing too about that is they announced it over at the DDC as like, you know, oh, this is what Best Buy is switching over to, that everyone's going to be paid weekly. And then I mentioned it to Cody, and he's like, what? They didn't mention that to us. He went on a quest to like find out information from different managers and district support, and no one knows about it. It's like, that's weird because it's all DDCs are switching to it, and they told us that. Well, they even told us that everyone is switching to it. From my point of view, everyone meaning all of Best Buy.
That's what.
Good communication.
That's what one of the DDC managers told me when I asked her, and I was like, she was like, yeah. I was like, nope. She's like, really? I was like, nobody knows about it. Nobody's heard a thing.
Yeah. And this was the first week of it, so it's really weird just to look at it and just be like, oh man, I get paid so little. But I get paid so little so often now. It's weird.
Makes you feel richer.
No, it actually makes me feel poor because like at least you get that one, you know, every 2 weeks you get the one big check, and you're like, yeah, you know, I feel like I accomplished something a little bit, and I make a little bit more, and then you get the one little check, and you're like, did I take a vacation and forget to like put hours in? Was I not clocking in these like for half my shift?
I always feel poor, so you know.
I mean, that's because we are poor.
Well, I also have child support, so there's that.
Yes.
Yep.
I'm losing almost $700 a month just to a child.
Damn, that is literally more than one check of mine.
Yeah.
That would bankrupt me.
Feels good.
Taj, what are you eating? Yeah, Taj, that's
Eggs.
you. Eggs.
Excellent.
I like eggs.
I like
it.
My name's Jeffy. I like nuts. I'll do it.
I was reading
Congrats.
a Facebook post,
Ugh.
and it asked, "What's the most inappropriate thing that you've laughed at?" And all I could think of was
The Ringer.
you and I in the movie The Ringer.
I tell that story all the time to people I don't know.
Story.
Does Joe know that story?
No, I know that's
I don't
Okay.
think Joe
I
knows
was
the
like,
story.
oh, you're thinking of the
Yeah,
inappropriate
Joe's
time?
wondering what is the
I'm
most
wondering,
inappropriate thing.
like, yeah, and the problem with me is like I forget this stuff so easily, so I'd have to have something like
Because it
jog my
happens so
memory.
often.
I mean, to be honest, after I started becoming friends with you guys, yes,
You're welcome. You're welcome.
well, no, I mean that's not a bad thing. I will admit that after becoming friends with you guys, I'm a bit less of an introvert,
Desensitized is what you meant to say.
desensitized, and I'm able to talk to more people and whatnot about the most messed up things. But that's what I'm saying is like I would have to like just the way I remember things. It's like I would have to look something up in order to like really remember what's the most messed up thing I've ever laughed at.
I mean, I have a few, and they're mostly movie based.
Yeah, I mean I can think of one that still makes me laugh, still makes me giggle, but it was a comment that I made in the middle of watching Black Panther 2 with you.
What was that comment, Joe?
They were doing magic in the movie. He knows what I'm talking about. See, it's making him laugh
He's literally in stitches almost already.
because it was so out of nowhere, and it wasn't the movie's fault. It was the comment that I made. I leaned over to him because it's an innocent and okay. Look, and it almost sounds yeah, okay. So it was Black Panther 2, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a scene where they go to they go from Wakanda to the bar.
Oh, it's
And it's
no.
supposed to be like no, it's the casino.
It was the
And
first one.
Was the first one?
Yeah, it was the first one. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And they go to the casino, and they're supposed to be all in disguise and something like that, and they're talking to somebody, and I think it was T'Challa. There's a little girl standing there, and so he starts doing card tricks with her, and I lean over to Cody and I go, "Black magic," because he's black and he's doing magic.
Yikes. Yikes.
Uh,
So, yikes. I'm okay with it.
Thank you.
besides the
Anyway,
Ringer
that's-
one, there was Passion of the Christ, which I know you probably shouldn't laugh
What
at.
made you laugh at that? I never saw that movie. What made you laugh at that?
So, the movie it's an amazing movie in general. I mean, I'm not a religious person, so it didn't hit me that way. But just a really powerfully made movie. But there's a part right after they put Jesus up on the cross. One of the other people that's on a cross up there with him is laughing at him, and he says something like, I think the one Roman soldier just stabbed him in the ribs, and he's sitting there bleeding. Obviously, he can't do anything about it because he's strung up on a cross. And the guy hanging up next to him goes, "Look at you, the Son of God, up here with the rest of us." And then a bird lands and just pecks his eye out, and I lost it. I was like, oh, just like I couldn't stop laughing. Like, and the worst part is I'm sitting next to my father, and next to him is the pastor that invited us to go see the movie.
Yes.
And I'm trying to stifle laughter, which is making me laugh
Making you
more
laugh harder.
because the movie theater is filled with these like religious people watching this movie, and a lot of them are crying at this point. And I am almost crying because I'm trying to stop myself from
'Cause you're
laughing.
laughing so hard.
And my dad is staring a hole through my face, which
You
isn't
weren't using that face
helping.
anyways, dude.
What?
You weren't using that face anyways.
Yeah, which was making me laugh even more. So it was like a bad thing. And then there's a Saving Private Ryan moment.
Which there's many.
So there's the part where it's the storming of Normandy, and the dude gets a bullet ricochets off his helmet, and he takes it off to look at it, and he gets hit in the exact same spot. And I laughed at that too.
Yeah. I
So
would say that
not great,
yeah,
but
now that you're mentioning stuff like that, there have been tons of scenes where it's not obviously it's not appropriate, but it's just more of like a oh goddamn. kind
Dude,
of thing.
like it turns into comedy on accident.
Yeah,
yeah.
'cause
So
I think I'd had the same reaction to the Saving Private Ryan scene where where the bullet hits his helmet and he's like, oh my god, I hit my helmet, and then fucking loses his head, and it's just like, oh fuck, dude.
yeah, it's one of those like, oh, I shouldn't laugh at this, but man,
Is it funny?
Yeah, I know I've had tons of experiences like that.
Yeah, those are the ones that always pop out when people talk about like laughter at inappropriate times. The Ringer for sure, because The Ringer is like this classic moment, and it's like there's a lot of funny shit in the movie. So like it's like you're like, oh, what part did you laugh at? And it's just that one scene, and it just I think the culmination, and it's funny too because like not too long ago, I don't want to say made Paige watch it, but she had never seen it. And so we watched it, and she was like borderline appalled about this movie. She's like, "How did they make this movie?" I was like, "It was made in a time of innocence."
Yeah,
you know. But
we
so
do know a lot more stuff.
And then I explained to her like because I laughed again at that moment, not because it was funny again. It was, but it's because I remembered that time in the theater when we just started laughing in a sold out movie theater on a fucking Friday night, and the only three people laughing.
And I mean, not just laughing, absolutely fucking dying.
Oh yeah, just tears. Like I'm pretty sure snot was coming out of my nose. Like, oh, it was such a good time, and it was so inappropriate.
So hilarious, though.
And we were vocal too. We were not.
Yeah, we were not quite in that movie at all.
Oh man, shit was hilarious.
It was fantastic.
Good times, great oldies.
Yeah.
That movie definitely can't be made nowadays.
No, there's so many movies that can't be made today.
Yeah, most of the comedies
in yesteryear. So I don't even know. Like, obviously there are good movies being made now, but that caliber of movie, you know, even like the Blazing Saddles and the Airplanes of the world, Naked Guns, you know, they just can't be made anymore.
Nah.
Yeah.
Because
oh shit, Tropic Thunder couldn't be made today.
Oh, Tropic Thunder would be canceled almost immediately.
It did, but before it was even released.
Yeah, people would find out that a white guy plays a black guy.
Yeah, absolutely not.
It was just
fantastically done, though.
Oh, yeah, amazingly done.
Yeah. You okay?
Oh, I just saw an article and it made me laugh.
What article are you reading there, Cody?
I was looking through a bunch of news because I read a bunch of stuff that just isn't great to talk about, but one of them was talking about how people were given barf bags for Saw X this weekend. Because Paige and I went and saw it on Thursday night. There's no, because there was this tweet that went out. I don't remember who it was that said it. Oh, I think was it IGN? I don't remember who it was, but the creator, director, writer, and of Terrifier commented on it. And he was like because they use Terrifier 2 as kind of like a moniker, and like they're like blah blah blah, people giving barf bags because of it, and he's like, oh, I'm very honored to be like the kind of the benchmark for it. And I'm thinking, there's no fucking way Saw could be more gory and disgusting than Terrifier 2. There's one scene in particular in Terrifier 2, and I'm not even talking about the guy getting his penis cut off. I'm talking, there's a scene where Art the Clown fillets open a teenager on her bed, and her mom stumbles in to see him doing this, and he's pouring salt onto her open wounds. And I'm like, and it's not like a cutaway scene. It's like the camera just holds on him in scene with her, parts of her flayed open, like her face is all jacked, and then she turns, and you're like, holy shit, she's alive, and like groans at her mom. And I'm like, that's fucked up. Like, it didn't make me throw up because I'm not a fucking, panty waste. But, and then I'm thinking, what are we going to see in Saw that's going to be worse than that?
Right.
And there was nothing in Saw that was worse than that. Like, if anything, I would say this: Saw X, the traps in this one, which makes sense in the movie, but they were way more tame than some of the other shit than the first couple movies.
You say it makes sense because of where it falls in the timeline? Yeah,
because of the so if you don't know, the premise of this movie is this one takes place between 1 and 2.
Okay.
So it's a sequel, but it's a prequel, right? It's a pre-sequel, right? Like they did a Borderline thing.
Yeah.
So basically, this is what leads Amanda. Basically, this is showing the in between of what happened between 1 and 2 when Amanda, if you don't know, spoilers, I guess, Amanda joins his cause, his little venture, and I'm talking about Jigsaw. So you see the events of 1. Obviously, she was one of his victims. She survived, went through hell to do it. And then the surprise thing in the second one is you find out she's in on the whole thing. This is between those two, so you kind of see the character adjusting to Jigsaw's methods. And there's a really, because this one is by far has the most like plot driven everything in it. But the reason why these traps are a little more like rudimentary and not as advanced, one of them is ridiculous. And it's called bloodboarding, and I'll get to that in a second. Is that he basically throws them together quicker, but because he's in Mexico, when he goes to this procedure that's supposed to basically help him a miracle cure for his brain tumor, and it ends up being a hoax. So he basically takes all the people that were involved in the hoax, in the scam, and basically puts them into traps. And so they're all pretty. I mean, they're definitely elaborate for like but they're not as wildly as elaborate as like some of them have been, especially the later movies where they got a little like overboard with them. But like there's one where he has essentially a giant I can't remember what it's called, but it's one of those like not tourniquet saws, but those saws where like you use in the field where you can like saw through bone and leg and stuff. It's like a little like Rottweiler thing, So he has that, but he has a big version that's like on a pulley system that's around this lady's neck, and what she has to do is she has to saw her own leg off. Saw, get it? And then she has to take one of those little suction things and suck out like 3 something. I think it's like not 3 ounces, but 3 something of bone marrow out of the exposed bone to turn the trap off. And if she doesn't do it within the 3 minutes, the big saw will cut her head off, right?
Jesus.
Yeah. So that one's the goriest of all of them, because they show it as she's sawing through her leg. They're showing it go up through her leg, and when it gets to the top, like after it goes to the bone, she's pulling up on it so much because she's obviously in horrendous pain and trying to get through it. It lifts the skin up by the blade, and so you can see it going through it, and then it flops off, and then she has to plunge the little thing into her, and then my favorite part about it is, as it starts to pump out, it shows it go through the little screening thing, and you can see the fat being like globbed up on the top of the screen as the marrow is dripping down into the beaker.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that is gory.
Yeah.
But like nothing is as gory as watching Art the Clown fillet a teenager open multiple times in her bedroom while she's alive. So I mean, to each their own, I guess. But yeah, I was like, barf bags, you guys are a bunch of wussies. Because it wasn't that bad. The bloodboarding was pretty gnarly though. Yeah, so like they basically gets on it, like essentially like they're chained down. The only thing you can really move is like kind of lift their arm up, and there's a lever by each one of them, and they have to basically sacrifice the other person by pulling on the lever. And when they do that, there's 2 things of like above them each that pours blood down, like they're like basically like waterboarding, but with blood. So if you pull your lever, it levels you out, so you're and it shuts off your valve, so no more blood's falling on you. But it then angles the other person down more.
Right.
So they get hit.
Yeah. So and then basically you have to like try to basically outpower the other person. And I'm not gonna. I mean, obviously I can spoil everything because I doubt either of you are gonna watch it, but.
Not anytime soon, at least. Yeah,
so like you have to pull your lever to get you raised up and let your valve turn off versus the other person, and it's pretty interesting the way they do it.
Oh, by the way, if any of you are wanting to see this, it's too late now.
Why?
No, the viewers.
Why?
Or the listeners. Like, spoiled.
I said spoiler alert earlier.
Just saying.
But it's still in theaters, so go see it.
Yeah.
Um,
Listen,
but
I still intend if I'm like I'll probably watch it at home, but
yeah, when it's out on
whatever. The thing and the place and
who
stuff.
who makes it? Well, it's Lionsgate, so they don't have a streaming
They
platform.
do not.
Oh, speaking of putting
Kind of
streaming platforms, did you guys watch the Toxic
No,
Avenger
I totally
teaser?
forgot to watch
Yeah,
the
yeah.
what you call it. Yeah.
All right, so it's nothing crazy. It just kind of shows you. It's like basically like it's so trauma. It's hilarious, but like modern, and they don't really show a whole lot. And they don't even show him really. They show like that. It's the only part you see of him is
Silhouette.
that picture I sent you. That silhouette with the glowing mop is the only thing you see of him. And then it's all just cut from like basic camera footage because it all has to do with the hostage situation. But it's a news broadcast talking about this, whatever, right? But the day before, they actually launched a trauma streaming service.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can get it on all platforms, so Apple
Intentional.
TV, everything like that, and you can watch. It's like $4.99 a month, and it has all the. I need to look at it to see if I don't know if it has the cartoon, but it has all the trauma stuff on it because Lloyd Kaufman owns all of his own stuff, unlike some places and some studios, and no one really. To me, it's weird that like Shudder doesn't have the trauma stuff on it, but nobody really has the trauma stuff as for streaming. And I don't know if that's intentional or just nobody wants it, which is a mistake. But yeah, you can get it on there as an app on the phone, iPad, Apple TV, all that stuff. I'm pretty sure other platforms too. Obviously, I don't look at those because I don't have another platform to look at. But yeah, so I thought that was pretty interesting that they launched their own streaming service where you can watch all the trauma movies.
They have they have a comic on there. They have the comic on there too.
Yeah, the Marvel comic. Yeah,
Yeah.
I forgot to look up and see if the cartoon was on there, but I
Yeah,
thought
I'm
it was
trying to
pretty
see if
hilarious.
it is on there. I see the movie, and I just don't yet see the cartoon.
You can watch James Gunn's very first movie, Romeo and Juliet. I believe is the one. That's where he got his start. But I thought it was pretty hilarious that they launched their own streaming platform.
That's pretty clever.
It looks like it is on there.
Yeah.
Toxic Crusaders it says in 4K.
Yeah. Yep. Toxic Crusaders. That's the one.
Yeah, because it comes up in the family friendly section.
It is family friendly. It was on network television.
No, I know. I mean, I remember watching it, but it's just it's obviously funny because there's a family friendly section on Troma Studios. It's just not something that I would assume
You
that
would
they
expect to
have
see, yeah.
a lot of family friendly stuff on here. Oh, Alf's on here.
As it should
Alf.
be.
Project Alf. It looks like a movie.
Yeah.
Maybe a documentary or something.
Yeah.
Grizzly Mountain, The Last Run Home, Boys Club, but spelled with a K backwards. That doesn't sound great.
It's definitely on the fringe of.
Giant of Thunder Mountain, The Martial Arts Kid,
Hell yeah.
Magic Voyage. There's probably more, but
I'm sure.
Yeah, it's funny too because like Tromaville is a fictional town in New Jersey, where Lloyd Kaufman's from, if I'm not mistaken. But they have a "Welcome to Tromaville" sign that was up in front at the premiere at Fantastic Fest for the new one, and I was like, "Oh, that's so cool."
oh, they even have the cartoon movie on here
Hell yeah, buddy!
and a making of the cartoon on here.
Just in case.
Just in case someone wants
Just
to
in
let
case.
people draw it.
Yeah, you know.
They have a movie called Shakespeare's Shitstorm.
Oh my.
Actually do.
It was released in 2020. Oh, Class of Nukem High. It's a great one.
Class of what?
Nukem High.
That 100% just reminded me of the game Duke Nukem. As awful as it was.
Music videos on here.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a I just thought it was pretty rad that they did that.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. It's not that expensive.
Yeah. I just don't. I was gonna see if they have. I was trying to go to the Wikipedia page to see if they listed all the movies that are available on there, because they've distributed a ton of movies through Troma Films, like that aren't Troma movies. I mean, they're all pretty fucking wacky and crazy. But there are some that aren't Troma movies per se. I mean, there are a ton of just Troma ones like Killer Condom and.
I'm guessing under the action section where Treasure of Ruby Hills and San Francisco Story, they all look like old westerns. They're probably not Troma films.
Yeah, there's a bunch that they released through them. I was trying to see if maybe that's some other stuff on there, but nope. Okay.
Oh yeah, this one is straight up a 1955 production.
1955.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it's a good year, but I don't want to make it sound like I'm older than I already am.
Plus, it probably wasn't a good year.
What was going on in 1955? To the Google machine. Let's see.
A lot of stuff.
I mean, you know.
Dragon Fury.
Hell yeah.
Dragon Fury 2.
Sergeant Kabuki Man, NYPD.
Who was in this movie? Richard Lynch, Robert Chaplin, Jonah Jason.
Major events in 1955. MLK leads first major event of civil rights movement and a bus boycott. Eisenhower suffers heart attack, hospitalized for 3 weeks. World War II allies signed a treaty restoring Austria's independence. Interstate Commerce Commission orders all U.S. interstate trains and buses to end segregation. Minimum wage raised to how much do you think the minimum wage was in 1955?
75 cents.
Close, but no.
$1.50.
Dollar.
Holy shit. $3.50.
$3.50.
That monster came up to me and said, "I want $3.50."
Like a sponsor.
UHF television developed.
Not the good one, but the actual
No,
the actual TV broadcast standard.
A big scientific person dies that year.
Oh no.
Albert Einstein. Adios.
Gone too soon.
Gone too soon. Movies. 7-Year Itch. That's the biggest name on that list. Marty, 7-Year Itch, The Rose Tattoo, and Smiles of a Summer Night. I've heard of one of those.
Yikes.
It's also the year that Chuck Berry got the idea for Johnny Be Good.
Oh. Ooh. Guess how much a black and white TV cost in 1955?
$50.
No.
$75.
Probably like $1,000 or something like that.
Also no. Remember, money's different back then, so
Yeah.
$1,000 is a lot.
Well,
$1,000,
yeah.
you're rich.
$100.
$99.95.
Yep, I figured.
Cost of a gallon of gas?
12
23
cents.
cents. 23 cents.
The good old days.
Ooh.
Sorry, that was the cost of a Pepsi free or
Pepsi, not Coke free, cocaine free Pepsi.
no, I think he ended up getting coffee. That's what cost him 5 cents.
Well, 'cause
Disneyland opens in Anaheim.
Not all bad.
And RCA bought Elvis's contract for how much?
Oof.
$10,000.
More.
$50,000.
$10,000 in $1.
$50,000.
Less.
50,001.
He said less.
Less.
$40,000.
$35,000.
I was so close.
You were close.
I would have
And
got
Mickey
there
Mouse.
eventually.
Mickey Mouse Club debuts on ABC.
Yeah,
It's
Mickey
a good
Mouse
year,
Club.
that 1955.
Yeah.
Oh, Carson debuts also on CBS. Didn't see that. That's it.
Look at 1955 coming out swinging.
Coming out swinging indeed.
Hey, we got stuff going on. That's what they're saying.
That's what. Yeah, it was like we doing big things in 1955. missed this. The Vietnam War started in 55.
Okay, not all good.
Yeah, like I said, not all good.
Can't have good without the bad or something?
I suppose.
I mean, it is the world. What is wrong with my news? It keeps just showing me Taylor Swift stuff.
That's because Taylor Swift is literally dominating all news right now.
Yeah, she is.
Apparently, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's
She
ridiculous.
is everywhere. She didn't find her another white boy to ruin.
Whoa.
Listen,
Whoa.
Joe's up next, I'm hoping. You know, it's not going to be me, so it's got to be Joe.
Ruin?
Has she not?
I would have to say that most of them are, well, other than the last one, but I think everyone thinks he's a piece of shit anyways, have not, like, gone away. She just
I
does.
didn't say that disappeared into nothingness.
She didn't ruin them. But if they weren't scumbags, then she wouldn't write fucking
she
bangers
dated
about
Harry
them.
Styles, not a scumbag.
No, I was just saying, but she didn't ruin him.
I'm just saying.
The one of the songs.
We don't know his dating habits now. Post Taylor, there's a pre-Taylor era and a post-Taylor era.
Yeah, well, I mean, he makes some mistakes. But whatever. But I'm just saying.
She's on my list, so it's not like I hate her. I'm just saying her dating record is not stellar.
I mean, it's not great, but I mean, it depends on what you're into. I did see a funny video where a guy's like, "Hey, I'm glad Taylor's finally dating a real man," and he listed all the men she was dated in the past. When I thought was very mean because like it's got like Tom Hiddleston on it. And I was like, that's kind of fucked up. I was like, John Mayer can go fucking suck an asshole, but I mean the other ones I was like, dang, like that's mean to say. But like Travis Kelce, I guess
he's the butchest of them all.
Yeah, with that, well, he needs to get rid of that mustache, and then because he's definitely butch with that mustache, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. He's a Butch No Sundance.
Yeah, he needs to fucking find a cowboy and a construction worker. I was like, oh Lord.
He thinks it looks good.
Yeah, well,
nobody can tell him otherwise. He's not small.
I'll tell him. I'm gonna
from a distance.
He ain't gonna punch me.
From a distance, at your home, under a blanket.
I'll say it to his face. I don't care.
As he's on TV.
It's his face still, Joe.
I know. I'm just pointing out.
Just acknowledging the truth.
You're saying it.
Yeah, well.
What version of his face we're talking about here?
I ain't scared. I did watch a clip of him on, I guess him and his brother I don't guess. I know him and his brother do a podcast together.
Okay.
And his brother has no qualms whatsoever bringing up his personal life, and he brings it up, and Travis gets all giddy and like he's like ha ha ha. I was like, yeah, that's so funny. He's so excited.
Talk about dating Taylor.
Yeah, it was so funny because it was right before like the I think it was like the week or so before. Yeah, before like she was at the game, and he was just like he's like I did bring it on myself, and I was like, oh, he's so giddy about it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I guess I would be too.
I would be as well.
But
we know Joe would be literally beside himself.
Right.
So you keep saying Joe, and I know Joe is here with us, but I just keep thinking back her ex named Joe.
Joe Jonas. Right.
And I was like, oh, that guy's a piece of shit. But whatever, right? Like I don't know if for fact he's a piece of shit, but
we can assume.
But
it's a fair assumption.
You just like if you go and you listen to like a lot of her newer music, like especially on midnights right before like the breakup was like kind of announced or whatever, man, you just have to. I mean, you're inferring a lot of what's in it, but man, it sounds like he's a giant piece of shit.
He did not. If we accept that everything that she sings about is 100% true, absolute giant piece of shit.
Yeah, dude. Like, there's a one of the lyrics in what song is it? Lavender Haze? No. Oh no. It's in. I can't remember which song it is now, But she says you were walking all over my peace of mind with the shoes that I bought you.
Oh.
And I was like, ooh, yikes, yikes,
Oh.
yikes. That's not nice.
That's heavy though.
Yeah, I'm like, ooh.
Like, we cannot deny her her authorship, or whatever you would call it, or her ability to write lyrics.
Yeah, that girl knows metaphors for show.
She really does.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and the last thing I was saying about that, I was bringing it up. His jersey sold out the next day after she was at the game.
Yeah, he became like the most sold jersey like right away.
Yeah, it's fucking hilarious.
All she had to do was show up to a fucking football game, and people are like, "Well, I like Travis Kelce now."
Yep. And it is funny that on his brother's team, there's a player with the last name Swift. So
yes,
and they're both
the Kelce Swift.
Yeah, so they're both on the field together, and a lot of times they're standing next to each other. So you see Kelce Swift, and I was like, oh, his brother got one first.
Nice.
Been there, done that is what his brother is saying right now.
Yeah. The difference is one is wildly more popular than the other.
Yeah.
I mean, yes. However,
Like worldwide,
yes.
I would say.
But listen, good on Kelce to go get that lady.
Mm-hmm.
I would say he's getting that bag too, but he's already got money.
Yeah, he isn't. That's,
He doesn't have Taylor money, but nobody does.
Yeah, let's say nobody has Taylor money.
Who do you think is worth more? And hear me out here. Is it Jay-Z, Beyonce together, or Taylor Swift?
I think Taylor. Well, Jay-Z. Well, no, she has one too. I was gonna say Jay-Z has a production company, but so does she.
Yes, she does.
And he hasn't toured in a long time. Beyonce's
He has
tours are
And
not
that's
nearly.
part of why I ask.
I think it's got to be Taylor at that point. Just because the amount of. I mean, even before this year, she has
She's
more album
massive.
sales than both of them combined, really. But also she's a marketing machine, and I don't know if I can equate it just to her. But like, obviously having a Swiftie in my house helps me know some of these things. I'm not just talking about me. But every album, so she's just the 1989 Taylor version is about to come out, which is the third to last of the re-releases of her original music that she now owns again, the masters of. Every release she has, they drop vinyl releases of it as well, and they sell out instantly, and they have multiple versions. And then there's exclusive versions for stores that they do. So Target will have one, Walmart will have one, blah 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 will have them, and they sell it everywhere.
All right, I have to. We're gonna have to qualify now.
Uh-oh.
Because I just stumbled across some information.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Are we talking music only, or are we talking all ventures?
All ventures,
I mean, I'd say all ventures. I
You
can't.
see that?
Not anymore. 2.5?
That's Jay-Z alone.
Yeah, but Taylor made that much on her tour, and her tour's not even over.
This is net worth. So remember that Taylor did not make 2.5 on her tour. That is what the tour brought in. That money also distributes to all the other places that she has to pay.
Okay.
So
did you look up Taylor's net worth?
600 million.
That seems low.
It does seem low. However, it was updated 3 days ago. And Beyonce is 540 9 hours ago.
9 hours ago. Jesus, they're on top of this, huh?
I tell you what,
They knew we were looking for it.
they knew somehow that this conversation was going to come up on this podcast.
I mean, Jay-Z
Well,
does
start, like, guesses though.
co-own
Jay-Z
a
has
basketball
a
team,
lot
right?
of additional ventures,
Yeah.
and that's part of it.
Oh yeah.
A lot. He does not just do music. He's got everything. Clothing. He's got his hand in like the the drinks, like 50
Alcohol.
Cent. Like, he's everywhere.
He also isn't he co-owner of Tidal?
Let's take a look.
I believe so.
I think so. Which, I mean, is not that popular, not as popular as like Spotify or Apple, but it is on a lot of devices and used quite a bit.
He is part of Tidal.
Yeah, so that does help quite a bit too.
Mm-hmm. That's been around since 2014.
Yeah,
Goodness gracious.
it was they wanted to be one of the biggest streaming services, but it was streaming services were for music at least. Well, actually, even for fucking TV shows and stuff, were very infantile back then, and they weren't what they are now, where they're a service more than just like a place you could go and get music, like Apple was before Apple Music became a thing, or iTunes, I should say.
Jay-Z has Rockaware. He is, I don't know that you can say he owns, but he is a part of somehow Reebok. He's got Armand the Brainiac, Champagne, Tidal, among other things, because there's a Norwegian, or there's a acquisition company.
Yeah.
Project Panther Bidco Limited.
God bless you.
And music, sports, Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah. How much money do you think he makes off the Brooklyn Nets, though?
Let's take a look. That's a fair question, because they're not very good.
Yeah, I mean, they're not, obviously you don't ever hear about them as being like, oh my god, the Brooklyn Nets. But like, also like, I know like a lot of sports teams, they lose money.
Yes.
When they're not
good.
It
is funny that you say that. Because here, it says, his purchased stake in the Nets, $1 million for his share, and that declined to $350,000, which is gross.
Yeah. Losing $600,000 on a basketball team. Yeah. And that's just, I mean, obviously, because I mean, he obviously going to get some back as they sell merch, but not enough to make up $600,000.
He had a stake in the Barclays Center for a while.
Is it the one they got rid of, or is that still there?
No, it's still there.
Okay. What's the one they got rid of? Because then they build a new one like right across the freeway.
In Brooklyn?
I think so. For the new one, or is that the new one? Is the Barclays Center the new one?
Let's see. When was the Barclays Center opened?
I say new, but like newer.
I get you. 2012.
Nope, not what I was thinking of.
And it's still open.
Yeah.
They're the home to the Nets, the LIU Sharks is NCAA, the New York Islanders, Long Island Nets, which is a D League, and the New York Liberty.
Oh, they're losing money all over the place, huh?
The Islanders might, be a little bit of a profit.
Maybe. I mean, I know they're not making money on the D League or the college teams.
No. Especially not, because I've never heard of LIU. So.
Yeah, I don't know what that is at all.
He's got a sports management company, the Creative Artists Agency.
That's a sports management team? Or that seems like it should be for music, but okay.
Hey, look, it's a sports management group.
Yeah. Sticking with the theme, I guess.
Oh, I'll take that back. Creative Artists Agency is the head, the overarching sphere of it, and the sports management is Rock Nation Sports.
That makes more sense.
The dude's everywhere.
I mean, might as well.
Might as well. He's got a couple of dollars to spend, so he can, He's got his own cigars.
Ew. What the hell?
On December 2022, Jay-Z Rock Nation announced their partnership with Caesars Entertainment to build and operate a casino property at Times Square.
Okay. Now he's in
I
the
could get
mob,
down with that. I
apparently.
mean, I've only been to Times Square once, so not likely to be there anytime soon.
Yeah, gonna fly over there to gamble on sports
Right.
betting or something.
I don't do that. That's Mike's space. I don't sports bet at all.
Oh, I thought you did.
Yeah, I thought you were.
I
Or
just
you
do
used to
fantasy football
fantasy
stuff. I mean, I
football.
spend money on that, but like actual gambling on sports, no, none.
That boggles my
That's all,
mind.
Mike. I can tell you very little about sports gambling. I can tell you plenty about the actual sports, but when it comes to the gambling and like knowing all that shit, nah.
Also, sports gambling boggles my mind that it's even a thing. It just makes no sense to me.
I get it. I mean, it's been around forever. You know, as long as there's been sports, people have been gambling on them, but it's gotten much more complex these days.
Yeah, man, it's like it is. It is. I mean, parlays alone are just like a fucking thing that throw me,
They're so layered.
bro. Dude, I was like,
Seriously.
I'm like, this is like, you're not. There's no way you're like making money off this.
Michael posts those screens, and I just stare at that, and I go, okay, like, how much money did you win? Because first off, I just see points, and you're using points for stuff, and, like, I don't really understand what,
Yeah, dude,
like,
it's-
okay, get what a parlay is, I think, but then
I will tell you.
what you have to do, and I'm like, this just doesn't seem fun to me.
A parlay is essentially when you're taking a bunch of individual odds and pairing them together to create a bigger, a bigger bet and a bigger opportunity to pay out because the likelihood of them all happening together is smaller. So the more individual bets you put together is called a parlay, and the more you have, the more the odds go down, so the payout goes up.
Gotcha.
So
And
if I'm betting,
the individual things you're betting on aren't necessarily something that go together. They could literally just be like, I'm
it could be a bunch of random things.
Yeah, on the score of the game, but then also make sure if this one guy rushes so many yards, and also if this
Generally,
happens, but everything has to hit.
everything has to hit, and if one thing doesn't hit, you lose your money.
Okay.
But generally they're in the same sport.
Well,
So,
yes, obviously they're in the same sport, like,
you know,
and probably even in the same game. But you're like, okay, this
not
has
necessarily
to.
the same game.
Oh, it could be spread across multiple games too.
Mhm.
Oh, that's weird.
Mhm.
So you can just
So-
sit there on fantasy. You can sit there on Sunday and just be like
And just
because
watching
versus the
your parlay,
Giants.
yes.
Have to have this. Whatever the score thing is. I don't remember what it is. The over under of a score is plus some other dude has to throw for so many yards in this other game. Plus this guy has to I don't.
Yep,
Yeah.
all of that. So
Yeah.
that's how it works. But the more you have, the less likely it is to happen, and
Right.
that's why the winnings go up. So Mike can bet $10 and win 100 or 150 or more because he's got a five, an individual five stat parlay or whatever.
Hmm.
And then you can go nuts with those things because the odds end up being like plus 100 or whatever it is, where you're like winning 100 to 1,
Hmm.
which is
Yeah, I had one
really
pretty
good money.
that won $600 from something from one of the games
Yeah,
this past week. Yeah.
I just don't like, for some reason I would much rather sit down at a poker table than risk my money on a parlay or something like that. I don't know why, I'm just different,
Well,
but
I mean, especially with poker, you have a little bit more of a
Control.
a little bit more,
Exactly.
not a lot of it,
not a lot. It's still luck based, but at least you're
Yeah.
holding the cards and thinking,
and making
okay,
the bets.
making the
Yeah,
bets,
it's
making
on
the
me.
decisions rather than, damn you, why did you run out of bounds with you only needed one more yard?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
also the Ace of Spades is not gonna catch a cold and can't play that Sunday.
That's true too.
Your parlays will only be like on active people. You can't get sick. But like if somebody
Breaks a leg
first
in
game in the
middle of
first
game.
first play of the game pulls a fucking what's his name that
Oh, Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers, yeah,
Is it? Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers.
Which, I mean,
You're fucked.
all right, I'm not gonna defend Aaron Rodgers because he's a lunatic, but you do have a second Achilles tendon, bud. Get out there. You have two.
You have to for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, stop being a lazy ass.
Yeah,
Stop
Jesus,
being a
dude.
bitch.
Absolute bitch.
Actually, speaking of sports stuff, because I know so much about sports. Taj, do you lend credence to the Monday Night Football curse?
No, I don't.
What's the Monday Night Football curse?
So apparently, and this is I had to look it up
Like
because I didn't know it was.
curse?
So the last 4 consecutive Mondays, there's been a real bad injury, and it stems to like the last 2 Monday Night Footballs of last season.
But who was this week's?
So this week was the who was it? Because it was been Aaron Rodgers, it was the Nick Chubb dude.
That was a Monday Nighter.
Yeah. But I don't remember if they said it was anything from this Monday or not. I don't know. I thought it was crazy because the last 4 Monday Night Footballs all had some horrific injury in them, and I don't know if there's one this past week or not.
Football's just such a nasty game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
True.
and that just sounds like a Bermuda Triangle thing. Like, everyone says that. Well, like, yeah, everyone says, like, look, the Bermuda Triangle, there's so many, missing ships and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, but if you look at all the ocean, there's so many missing ships.
There's so many missing ships in the entire ocean.
Yeah, when you stop looking at just, like, Monday and then you go back to Sunday, it's like, I would bet that Sunday should even be worse because so many more games
there's so many more games played
on Sunday. So actually, Monday shouldn't be cursed. Sunday should be cursed because there'd be so many more injuries on Sunday.
Or we could just say
been.
that football is cursed because it's a fucking football.
Well, yeah.
But exactly, like you're cherry picking statistics here because football in general.
It sounds good, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's more to the fact that those Monday games has been like a almost career-ending type injury, versus like concussions or broken this or whatever, and they're just pointing out the fact like Monday night has been. And saying a Monday Night curse is kind of ridiculous because it's only been 4, but it did stretch from one season to the other. And I think it's the featured game that has the major injury that's in it. So I think that's what they're mainly talking about.
Who knows? That's me.
Oh.
Holy smokes, they coming for you?
Damn.
You know I live right on fucking Bell Road. It's goddamn.
Yeah.
Fucking drag strip, so everything bad happens on Bell. Side note, I fucking signed up for the community app.
Mm-hmm.
That shit is fucking wild.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking wild.
Matt has that shit. That's fucking weird.
It's like, I mean...
My brother was signed up for it, too, yeah.
I did not realize how much shit goes on the regular.
Yeah.
That shit is wild.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not deleting it.
Free entertainment. What do
He
you
likes chaos.
It is.
Right?
And I'm here for it.
I'm here for it, he says.
Right.
So do we decide when we're going to Jerome?
I think
You were the final
I'm the final.
decision
I
maker.
wasn't sure if I was the final decision maker because it was posed to multiple people, not just Taj.
I believe we decided the 28th, right?
The 28th.
Right, that's when I'm free.
Next available time that you'd be free. Yeah. And then Mike said he'd be down for that. Obviously, I'm down for that. My brother's down for it.
I've never been, so this will be a first for me.
You've never been to Jerome?
Never been.
Man, it's a trip. I remember Cody's first experience to Jerome. Like, he didn't believe me when I said, like, it's a weird little city to drive through.
Town. I would not say city.
City town. Yeah, I mean, it's...
We know what you mean, though.
I know they call it the city of Jerome, but it's bro, dude, it's 2.5 streets.
It really does feel like 2.5 streets, and it's all uphill. It's like 2.5 streets all uphill. It's a weird...
Both ways in the snow.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's the way it does feel. It is literally a blink and you will miss it little town.
Blink and you miss it, and you also
remember-
drive off the side of a mountain. But yeah.
Well, yeah, and he's absolutely true. Like, he's absolutely right because it literally feels like you're gonna fall off the side of the mountain because it literally is built on the side of the mountain. If you've never gone and looked at pictures of it, go and look at pictures of it, and you'll look at it and go, why the fuck is that built there?
Yeah.
Obviously, it was an old mining town, so that's why it was built there. But it's so funny. I remember one of the experiences that I had not the last time I went, but I think the time before, was that you are intentionally going to Jerome. If you can't find parking there, you basically have to drive outside of Jerome and then turn around to drive back into it to try and find parking.
So this
Right?
should tell you,
So
Taj, a little
weird.
bit about
Very weird.
the mountain.
Like even
So
that picture doesn't that
it's just mountains,
graphical picture
but then you zoom
doesn't,
in,
do it justice.
and it doesn't, because you look at this like, oh, okay, it just looks like a town in the mountains, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. See, the thing is, you can't really, like, even with the 3D, you can't justify, like, you can't actually like specify
Like,
how.
see how mountainous it is.
Yeah, like, because like, oh, those roads are really close. They are, but they're also like 14, 15, 25 feet above each other.
Exactly. You are literally sneaking your way through
Yeah,
this
it's
town.
the town is essentially
Going up.
an elaborate array of shops and restaurants on a switchback down a mountain.
Mm-hmm.
So, Cody, I mean, you and I both grew up in San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember driving to, like, Bear Mountain and all that stuff, and the route that it
Yeah.
you take to get there? And how that's all switchbacks and
Mhm.
whatnot? Like that?
Yep, except for terrifyingly close to each other.
Yes.
Because you're going and you're like, oh, cool, there's like a building and it's on your left, right? And then you come around and you're like, hey, there's that same building, I think, and it's on my right.
Mm-hmm.
But for some
Yeah.
reason, there's more buildings to your left that are even higher up, and you're like, I don't understand this.
Mm-hmm.
This math ain't mathin'.
Yeah, and then
That's
like
how
they
it works.
have things like to get to the hotel, there's a section of it that's a one-way only shared road.
Yep.
Which, and then they're like, oh, if you want this to be like, busier, you need to expand this. You can't. It's on the side of a mountain.
Yeah.
Like you'd have to build a literally overpass to extend the road over it, and it's just not gonna happen. Like there's not enough. You can't. It's just there's not enough room.
It's also one of those things like you don't take big vehicles up there because the switchbacks are really big, are really small.
Yeah, dude, and I almost died a couple weeks ago on driving through Jerome because a dude in a truck decided he wanted to take a blind curve at a really high speed and came into the oncoming lane, mere feet from my vehicle that I was driving.
Duffeats?
Yeah, and I was like, well, I don't like this at all.
But it is a cool little town to drive through, or at least go through as like you park there and you just walk around. I've yet to stay actually in Jerome. They do have the Jerome Grand Hotel, which is supposedly a haunted hotel.
Oh, we should do it.
Adam has stayed there, and he says he doesn't really care for the place. It's not
good.
that great of food that they serve in the
Shitty.
food there. He says that the Bordello is actually a much. I think it's the Bordello is also a hotel. He says it's also.
I believe so. Yeah.
There, and that the food's pretty good there. But surprisingly, one of the reasons why we're going, if you don't know, is so you know who Maynard James Keenan is?
Heard the guy.
Yeah, lead singer of Tool, Puss of Fire, Perfect Circle, stuff like that.
Stuff.
He owns a vineyard out
Yes,
in
he
Arizona. His first shop, called Caduceus, is actually in Jerome.
God bless you.
So that's where he started selling his wine before other places like Bevmo and whatnot. I heard that actually I think there's another Caduceus Cellars in Scottsdale or something like that now. But anyway, so my family used to go up there every once in a while because there's also a campground nearby near Jerome. And like 5, 6, 7 years ago, whatever it was, before COVID, we went up there and we visited Caduceus Cellars, and I bought a bottle of mercantile wine, which is I don't think he owns it, but he's like a stakeholder in this other winery. And it was actually really good. And the next year that we went up, I bought a bottle of Anubis, and my mom for Christmas makes a old family pasta dish. So red wine pairs very well with red sauce pasta. So for years we would go up there and I'd buy a bottle of red wine, and so that's why we're going up there.
Because your selfish got it.
He invited us. It's not that selfish.
Actually, it was
What?
even my brother that invited you guys.
Like I said, Joe's selfish, but Adam's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
So there we go. See,
Uh, but yeah, so like I can go get it at Bevmo. Like last year, I never made it up to Jerome. I meant to go, tried to go get the wine from Bevmo, but they're sold out everywhere, which really sucked. So last year I couldn't do it. So I made making a point to go this year to actually go there, pick it up. It's really cool. They have like a you can do flights of wines, so you can taste a bunch of different wines that they sell.
so you get really
But what's
shit
also
faced.
cool is that he has a shop right next door called Pussifier, and it sells all of those bands' different merchandise and stuff like that. And it's a small barber shop that you can go get your hair cut in if you want to.
Nice.
Yeah. Food up there is actually pretty good. They have a shop called the Haunted Hamburger, is probably the more popular of the places to go eat. But we'll probably go to the Bordello, which I've never been to go eat. Adam says it's actually really good as well.
Just like a tour guide right now.
Well, and then
Always
there's just a
talking.
bunch of little
Fantastic.
shops and stuff that you can walk through. It's a bunch of I wouldn't want to say like thrift store type stuff, but it is like very small.
They have an all year round Christmas store.
Oh
Do they
yeah.
have an all year round Christmas store?
Yeah, it's
I
across
probably
from
walked
the
through and
old
just not
jail.
realize it's all year round. So it's a very interesting experience to walk through. It's a very lazy town. Uh, Most times of the year to walk through,
Don't call people lazy like that.
well, I just mean like it's a very laid back area to go through. Like a lot of these places you don't realize are people's houses, and also a shop.
No, so they'll like live above it or below it or something like that.
Yeah. But what will be interesting is I've never been there in the month of October. The month of
Oh, really?
October, they tend to hold Halloween parties and stuff there at certain times of the month. So
Yeah.
I don't know what we're going to experience there. I don't know how busy it's going to be there. It'll be a very interesting experience. Like I know in the years past we've looked into getting a hotel room at the Grand Hotel just to try and record at there and do haunted spooky stuff during the Halloween season, and they're always sold out.
Yep.
So it'll be interesting to see what it's going to be like literally the weekend before Halloween.
I have a legit question.
Okay.
Should I be concerned about going to Jerome?
Well, if you're talking about like driving up there, I would say that
Like I'm black and Jerome is not.
Oh no, you're fine. They're not. It's not that kind of backwoods town.
no, it's not that type of backwoods town at all. No.
I've seen black people there.
Listen, I mean, I would go anyways because I don't really give a shit.
Nah, you'll be
Should I
fine.
be prepared for looks?
No,
No.
I would say it is more of a touristy destination, so it is a lot more of like outside people being there walking around. Yeah, you'll be fine.
Now, be prepared for a
Sure,
bunch
yeah.
of weirdos walking around, but that's just because it's a ghost hunting area.
Yes, that's what it's known for. It's an old mining town
Slow down, bud.
that is known for going out at night and ghost hunting tours and stuff like that.
And then I think, well, I mean, it'll be October, so I think they'll be doing their the flashlight tours of the graveyard and stuff during October. I think it's when they might do it other times of year, but I know they always advertise it that because one time we were gonna go there for they were doing a Pokemon Go thing up there where they were gonna do it at night in the graveyard, and I was like, and then I tested the theory: you can't really catch ghost type Pokemon at cemeteries and stuff. It's a bunch of horseshit.
Are we gonna play a bunch of Pokemon Go over
Really
there?
insensitive.
We can. I mean, they have Pokestops and stuff up there.
I'm in.
I think they have a couple gyms too.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah,
I think the Haunted Hamburger is a gym.
it might be. Yeah,
Actually.
because on Hamburg is pretty famous.
Yeah, it's pretty good too.
Oh, sounds like a good time. I'm excited.
So I just reminded Paige to take the 28th off and make sure she's off that Saturday, so we don't have to do
I'll
it
make sure I
later.
take it off as well. Oh wait.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Me as well.
Yeah, me as well.
Yeah, I do recommend if anyone's listening, they're going to Jerome.
Bring a gun.
Don't go to Jerome from the Prescott side. Go from the Flagstaff or like go through like Clarksdale. It's a much easier drive because Yikes. The way in through Mingus Mountain is unpleasant sometimes.
The Migos?
Mingus.
Although you do run into like a billion fucking roundabouts when you're going the other way.
Yeah, if you come in through the Clarksdale side,
it's a much easier, nicer drive. But Jesus Christ, the number of roundabouts that you hit, and you're just like,
why are roundabouts such a fucking thing in Arizona?
Bro, dude, it
is ridiculous.
Prescott has them everywhere too. They're
it's awful.
Yeah, it's they're for flow of traffic. I'm like, okay.
Put a fucking stoplight in and don't make it timed. Just make it censored.
Yeah.
And call it good.
But at the same time, you put in a roundabout like the ones that going up to Jerome. You don't have to worry about running electricity to anything. You just have to.
You just have to worry about people not, wrecking themselves.
Yes, because even though there are a lot of roundabouts in Arizona, it's still not something
people don't know how to drive.
Yeah, exactly. Know how to drive. Yeah,
what Cody said for sure.
Yeah, I have a roundabout actually near me that I drive almost all the time when I go to Fry's.
How many times
so
you
I'm kind of used to it, but I will say that even knowing, like, I was going somewhere a couple of weeks ago, and it's like, hey, there's a roundabout up ahead. It just like it causes a little bit of a panic in me because it's like, okay, is it a 1-lane roundabout? Is it a 2-lane roundabout? How many lanes is this roundabout? Because that really affects if, like, am I in the right lane? Am I in the wrong lane?
Right. How much
straight can I do? Do right? Like how much
cars do you need to
I have?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like having mini panic attacks as you're getting closer to this fucking roundabout. Yeah. Yeah.
I want to rent a car, get full coverage, and then just right through the middle.
Bro, there's some in Prescott you can't do that because there's giant statues.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like giant metal ass statues that'll
just
fucking
run right into a fucking statue trying to fucking Dukes of Hazzard that shit through a roundabout.
Yeah, there's this one. I tried to take a picture of it because there's this one building. There's a roundabout right there, and the building looks like a Pokemon gym. Like it's a big building. It looks like an office building, but on the side is a big logo, and I don't know even what the business is, but it's an octagon, and inside the octagon is two. I'm guessing they're letters, but they're designed weird, but they look like gym badges. Like one's water, one's fire for sure. And I'm like, and then the statue in the middle is like of a horse. And I'm like, Ponytas? Like, am I going to fight? Like, what's happening in this place?
Low-key Pokemon.
Yeah.
It's meant to be. There has to be something there.
I'm like, I need to look. I mean, I'm always by myself driving, so I don't get a chance to open Pokemon Go. But I'm like, and then I have to make sure I don't get fucking hit by somebody in a roundabout because they don't know how to drive. Fucking savages.
Oh, Cody's tired.
Yeah, man. I haven't had my breakfast yet.
I had mine.
I've only had a cup of coffee.
Eggs.
Yeah. Tosh had eggs.
Eggs.
Last thing before we wrap it up. How's Starfield going for you guys?
Bro, dude. I haven't played it in almost a week.
Oh my god.
I know,
I
but
played
it's
it
bad.
since last week as well.
I
mean, that's what happens when you work nights, essentially 12:30 to 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
There's no real time to do anything after work, and before work I don't have a whole.
Okay, I don't know what happened there at the end. We lost it, but anyways, so that's it for this week's episode of Comes Naturally. Good way to end up episode 500 with a weird glitch at the end, but anyhow, that's it. That was Joe and Taj. I'm Cody, and as usual, you fuckers just came naturally.